Phone, yes, please. Oh, there we go. Okay, at least that's good. All right, good. Let's see. According to this, I'm live. I'm waiting to see me. Hold on. Let me refresh this. Oh, good. Looks looks like I'm good. I'm using multi-stream for the first time, so I can stream to both YouTube and Twitch. And it's my first time doing it. I'm giving it a shot. Give me just a second. I'm going to double check everything's working. Let me hold on. Let me just see if let me make sure everything's working. Okay. Just testing it out. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. I'm getting things apparently set up. You know, it doesn't. All right. According to this, I'm live right now, though. Hold on. Let me go back. Let me just save and get out of here. That's what I wanted to see. Can you hear me okay? Just save and... Oh, good. Everything's working. Everything's working so far. Oh my god, this is beautiful. All right. Let me just, I'm going to test the chat here. Okay. Let's try that again. Multi-chat ain't working. Yeah, everything was working except multi-chat. Why am I having such a hard time? I'm so sorry. This is actually like this is half a test and half to see if everything's working. Let me try this. Well, that works just fine. Where's my goddamn YouTube chat? Well, I'm glad I tested it there. I am live though, right? Yeah, well, of course I am. Docs. All right, everything seems to work except the chat. I mean, the chat works for Twitch. It's not working for YouTube, and that's kind of annoying. What if I did this? Testing. There we go. Now it's working. Awesome. Okay. Apparently I had to shut it off and turn it back on again. I'm an IT guy. Go me and my bad self. I'm going to leave all the windows open though, just in case I do, the chat doesn't work for some stupid reason. All right, this took way too long. I do highly apologize. So yeah, this particular podcast, it is all about, obviously it's an atheist podcast. Is faith just a shortcut for not thinking? Huh? You like that? Is faith just a shortcut for not thinking? I mean, if you got to think about that, right? When people You know what? I'm going to start with my actual cue cards because usually I'm good. I come up with a thing to talk about and I can that's why I make the cue cards and then I can just bounce ideas. Today does not seem to be the case. I did not get myself a drink. God dang it. But I'm going to go ahead and start with the actual cue cards. This is what I got. Hey there, free thinkers. Welcome back to Why Do You Think? The podcast where we ask the hard questions, take nothing on faith, and occasionally we piss off your grandma. I heard that from someone recently, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to give that a shot. That's probably not the best way to start it, but I'm going to start it that way anyway. So I was going to stream on Saturday and or Sunday. It didn't work out that way. It did not work out that way. Got really busy Saturday. Sunday was Mother's Day, which was fine because it's not like I spent much time with her. I had plenty of time throughout the day to come on here. But then I wanted to do the multi-stream. And it took me forever to figure out. Lots of YouTube video lookups on how to do things. And usually by the time I got things figured out, I said, you know what? Forget it. Not even interested anymore. I mean, I am, but it's late and I'm getting tired. I'm tired now. I should get myself a drink. I don't think anyone's watching at the moment, so would it really break your hearts if I just got myself a quick drink? I don't think it would. So give me just 1 second. I will be right back. 30 seconds at the most. Not even. 20 seconds. Time me. Yes, this is my background or be right back screen. I'm back. Hold on. I'm coming. Ugh. Okay. I'm here. Okay. I'm back. I really had to rush that one. Whew. All right. While I'm here, I really don't like the what you call it, right? I'm so sorry. The thumbnail it gave me for YouTube, it just put my logo up, and it's so boring. It's so boring. That's the logo you gave me? Can I get a different logo or thumbnail? No? Not gonna let me do that, huh? I really gotta make my own. All right. Yeah, I guess I'll do it that way. This is more of a test anyway. Next time I will definitely have everything set up. I'll have a thumbnail ready for the YouTube. I'm on Twitch at the moment also. So I was going to try to go live on TikTok, but it says, you sure you own the thing? I'm like, yes, I own it. And it goes, prove it with 3 screenshots. I'm like, what kind of screenshots are you looking for? This is small talk, by the way. I'll get into the actual meat and potatoes of the podcast in a minute. And the only thing I can think of to have any kind of screenshot was to go to my homepage on my phone, take a screenshot because it shows all the options I can do, and I uploaded that. I don't know if it's going to work that way or what. I'll give it a shot, right? Someone told me that the review is instant. No, it's still in review. It's not done being reviewed. Otherwise, I'd be live on TikTok right now. Also, all of them is Dustin YDU. If you're looking for me on Twitch, Dustin YDU. I'm currently live on my YouTube, which is YDU space think. Space, not the word space. You know, the space bar and then think. Yeah. All right, let's get into it because I can't think right now. My name is Dustin, and I like to go by Dustin YDU, and today we're diving into one of those words that get thrown around like it means something. You know the word, faith. But does it really mean anything? I mean, if you really think about it, people talk about all the time the word faith. And yeah, does it really mean anything? When people say you just got to have faith, does it ever put your mind at ease? It doesn't, does it? Faith. Back to my cue cards. It's awesome. I can talk. It's often framed as a virtue, something to aspire to, something to be proud of, right? That's what it's framed as. But when you really dig into it, is faith really just another way of saying, man, I'm just done thinking about this. Yeah, no, I'm done. I'm not going to think about it. You just got to have faith. Let's talk about this. Let's get on the same page here. Faith is typically defined as belief without evidence. If anyone ever tells you, you got to have faith, even if the Bible doesn't make sense, you got to have faith. It's all faith. So you're believing in something without evidence. That's the definition of it. I guess if you want to think about it, it's more like belief despite the evidence, right? Because there is plenty of scientists out there who are God-fearing people, Bible-believing scientists, some of them biologists who studied evolution, by the way. And no matter how hard they look into it, they cannot really find the evidence that their faith has any legitimacy, right? Excuse me. I mean, that's not just religious faith, right? That's any belief system that refuses to be questioned, which, let's face it, is pretty much all faith systems. There's one or two out there that says, hey, question us, okay? And if you find proof that what we believe is not true, we'll change it. I think that was wasn't it the Buddha faith? We talked about this semi-recently. Imagine somebody saying, I believe the earth is flat because I have faith that the earth is flat, right? We have flat earthers all over the globe trying to prove that the earth is flat. And because they don't really have anything to go out into space like a spaceship to see that the world is actually round, spherical, they just keep testing it their own way. And it doesn't seem to matter how many times it doesn't work. Right? It doesn't matter how much their evidence does not support what their belief is, they go on believing it. Now, why is that? Why is that? Why do people feel the need to believe in something that does not fit the evidence, even if they're the ones looking for the evidence? I just don't understand it, right? Like, even as I'm saying it out loud, and I have it written down here as I was saying it, and I say it again, and I trail off in my mind, and I'm just like, how does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. That's the whole thing. It doesn't make sense. Now, somebody saying, I believe the earth is flat because I have faith it's true, right? It makes you think about that. It's just like, what kind of idiot are you? Because even Christians don't think the earth is flat, at least the majority of them. They know the earth is round. They believe God made it, but that's not the point. They know the earth is round. So if they hear somebody say, I believe the earth is flat because I have faith that it's true, they think, what an idiot. Now swap that with, I believe in God because I have faith that it's true. Suddenly one sounds ridiculous and the other one sounds respectable. That's another thing that don't make sense. The mechanism is the same, though. Belief without scrutiny, right? Belief without proof, belief without evidence. I worked with a large number of people in my life, right? I have a very large resume. And I worked everywhere. I worked construction. I worked with people who had disabilities. I worked at a bank. I worked at a bank call center. I've worked in convenience stores. I've worked in bigger stores. I've worked in a lot of places. Warehouses, factories. And you always find that one person, at least one person, I should say, who is indeed a flat earther, who believes they're ridiculous. Why am I yawning so much? I am so sorry. I am not meaning to yawn. Oh, let's get more of this caffeine. I feel like I should have done jumping jacks before I came in. And you talk to them, right? The flat earth people. And you know the worst part? Despite them being a flat earther, they're not stupid. They're not stupid. You talk to them, and the stuff that they talk to you about, like, say, the workplace, how you should be treating individuals, racism, sexism, misogyny, whatever. They're right there on your doorstep. You're just like, yeah, bud, we can get along great. And then they bring up the earth is flat. The moon landing was fake. Who took the picture of the guy on the first moon landing, even though we've already proven that there was a camera on the ship thing that the astronaut arrived in? Well, why was the flag flowing if there's no wind up there? It wasn't flowing. It was on a freaking thing to make the flag go out. Stay out, I should say. Spread out. That's a good way to put it. There's always somebody like that. but everything else, it's like you get along great. It's like, dude, I really don't know how to fix that. But why does faith get a free pass? People can say, I believe the earth is flat because I have faith in it. But when people say, I believe in God, how come that gets a free pass? Why does faith get framed as noble? Because it's emotional, right? It offers comfort, which it does. Do not get me wrong. It does give comfort, right? If somebody's going through something, a hardship, a hard time in their life, and they get told Jesus loves you and he's going to take care of you. God has a plan for you. You're supposed to go through this because it'll work out in the end. It gives you a sense of comfort. It gives people a sense of certainty in an uncertain world. That's how I worded it over here. I actually don't like that wording, but I mean it's true. I just don't like the way I worded that. But let's be real. Thinking critically can be exhausting sometimes, which is why I think a lot of people go back to the faith, go back to to religion, before they seriously start to ask the difficult questions. Give me a second. I want to make sure my title's good. Why is my category for YouTube entertainment? I didn't want to put it for entertainment. It's under entertainment for some. Oh my God. And there's the entertainment. No. Nonprofits and activism, please. Save. There's so many things going. Like, it seems like everything's trying to go on their own. Like, I'm trying this multi-stream, right? I'm streaming to both Twitch and YouTube. I wanted to go on TikTok, like I said, but like as the more I look at it, I'm just I'm going over things, making sure everything's running smoothly, and I'm like, wow, wait a minute, why is the setting like that? I did not set it to do that. Entertainment. I mean, sure, if you find this entertaining, sure, by all means, but... All right. Where was I? Going through my cue cards again. Thinking critically is exhausting sometimes. Like I was saying, goes back to you. They go back to religion. They don't want to think critically. It's exhausting. Can't I just live my life enjoying the world, enjoying my life, watching... I don't know, the world's biggest catch on TV without, and still go to church on Sunday without really having to think of the hard questions, because it gives you a headache, especially the first time you really start questioning these things. But here's the catch. When you praise faith as a virtue, you discourage questioning. It's like, don't even worry about it. Bob, Bill, whatever your name is. Don't even worry about, I'll ask the hard questions. You just go about thinking, how much you get, you know what I'm getting at. I don't know why I'm talking. I'm stuttering so much today, and I don't know why. But when you discourage questioning, you reward ignorance, not insight. Religions aren't the only ones doing this, Think of the people who think of people who know their political party is always right. They think that their political party is always right. Or maybe the people who think crystals can cure cancer. I used to be one of these people. Now I think about it and I'm just like, what is wrong with me? I know what was wrong with me. And I'm going to get into that, actually. Crystals healing crystals curing cancer, right? I used to believe in that stuff. You find a crystal like a tiger's eye, right? Right? You know tiger's eye, that stone. They are so cool to look at. They are awesome. But they're just a rock. They're just a stone. They don't do anything. I was one of those people, though. I was just like, yeah, stones cure everything. There's magical energy in every single kind of stone. And you can get cured. You can get cured. You can cure everything. Rid yourself of the negativity. Oh, I was one of those people. And you know why I was one of those people? I was desperate to find something outside of the physical world. You don't want to just be walking uh, in the forest or the woods or whatever, and you see trees, right? Cool. Flora just growing from the ground, rocks sitting on the ground. It'd be so cool if every one of these things had their own energy, right? You just had to harness it. Because if everything had their own energy, that means there's something beyond the physical world. I worked my tail off to find something beyond the physical world. I just realized I don't know if my alerts are working right now. If someone's not following, can you please hit the follow button even if you unfollow after? I just want to see if my alerts are working. If they're not working, then cool. I'll figure it out another time. I just started this multi-stream, okay? It took me a long time to figure out, and I'm finding out more and more things aren't working. If you ask people why they believe what they believe, right? Things that research has to be done, right? And I don't mean research, I mean like thinking outside the box, outside the evidence, outside the proof. Why do you believe in such things? You often get the same answer. You just have to believe. You just have to believe. You just need faith. You just gotta have faith. It's a dodge, right? They're dodging the question. Why do you believe it? Well, I mean, if you look deep into your heart, that is not what I'm asking you. But I can get into that another time, too. It's a dodge. Faith is used to avoid thinking. I like to think of it as a shortcut, a shield. Sometimes even a weapon if you look in the right places. Don't even really need to get into that to know about how it can be used as a weapon. Even true Christians know that Christianity has been used against their faith. I'll just put it that way. It's like, no, that's not what God wants. That's not what Jesus wants. What those people did, in the Dark Ages, that's not my God. No, these people, they were delusional. Okay, well, we descended from them, from those beliefs, and you still believe the same book they did. Faith and religion. That's what told people that slavery was okay. Slavery is okay. God said so. It's in the Bible. Faith told people to reject vaccines, which that's a whole other topic we can touch on probably another time, or maybe a little bit today. I'm not even sure. Depends on how things go. God can heal you. God gave you an immune system for this reason, right? You hear about that one all the time. Faith told people to follow cult leaders, right? And they go into little communes, isolated from the rest of the world so nobody else tries to talk them out of it. And a lot of times it ends in mass... Can I say that word? Unaliving themselves. Okay, I don't really want to say that word. I don't know what is okay to say and what's not. I mean, is all faith dangerous? No. I mean, we've already proven, I think it was the last episode, that not all faith is dangerous. It can be, especially when it replaces facts, evidence, reason. I mean, faith itself isn't evil, right? It's not. Maybe the religion is evil, maybe their Bible is evil, but the faith itself, it's... No, especially when people think it really is all loving, it really is all good. Follow him and good things happen to you. They don't think of it as bad. They know the difference between good and bad. You know, they want people to prosper. They don't want people to suffer. Follow God and you won't suffer. But faith may not be evil. But unexamined and unproven belief, it's kind of a ticking time bomb, isn't it? Here's an idea. Wow, I'm already approaching the end of my cue cards. Usually a couple people come in to give me topics to talk about. Kind of a slow day. That's all right. I can make this a short segment anyway. I kind of started it late. I didn't do my last one because I was trying to figure all this out. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm not even 100% sure it worked. What if we stopped praising blind belief and started celebrating curiosity? I mean, there's a number of people who do that already. Me, for one. I hear if anybody ever tells me I believe in something, I'm always like, why? Why do you believe in such a thing? Tell me why. And it's usually the same old, tired arguments. I can feel it. It's a personal feeling. I have a relationship with God. He told me. What if we raise kids to say, I don't know, but I want to find out, instead of, you just got to have faith? I feel like that would be a big difference in the development of this world. If more people said that right now, this country wouldn't be in such chaos, right? They'd actually want to look things up. They'd actually want to figure things out. It's one thing I love about my niece. Okay, I don't have any kids of my own. I have a niece though. She's smart. She does. She probably doesn't think she is. Actually, I know she doesn't think she is because she was just like me at that age. I was a lot smarter than I thought I was. I thought I was stupid. I can't figure this out. Of course, I couldn't figure it out. I didn't do any of the work. But when I did do the work, when my parents finally sat me down to do the work, it was easy. I'm like, yeah, but this is kid stuff. Anyone can figure this out. I still didn't. I think it was... I still didn't think it was because, it was easy. Because I was, let's just say, relatively smart. Oh, it's kids stuff. Anyone can figure that out. So the few times I actually got an A on a test, because I refused to ever do homework when I was a kid, I'd look over at other people getting less scores than me. I'm like, what? This is kid stuff. How did you get a 78? I got a 98. How'd you get a 98? And I'd have a little bit of the superiority complex going on. I studied. I did study, but it had nothing to do. It had nothing to do with me doing it. My parents forced me to sit down, open the book, read from it to them, and I'm bored. This is kid stuff. This is easy. This is too easy. See, skepticism isn't cynicism. Doubt isn't weakness. And asking questions isn't rebellion, despite what a lot of people think. I've heard that. Asking questions is rebellion. I've heard some people just get offended when you ask questions about a job you're supposed to be doing. They're trying to show you how to do it, and I'm asking questions. That's how I learn. I ask questions. It's like they tell me how to do something, and I'm like, I'm looking at it. Why do we have to do that? It's like, listen, I've been doing this a long time, okay? Dustin, don't question me. I'm not questioning. I'm just trying to understand it. I learn better if I understand it. It's how we learn. I'd like to think that's how most people learn, but I think I'm wrong. I may be wrong, I should say. Like I said, this is going to be a shorter podcast episode today. Now that I think I've got the multi-stream going, I need to check on TikTok to see if I can stream there next time, because if I can, we'll be in the money. And by me be in the money, I mean I can stream to 3 places, not 2. You know, my coworker asked me a question today, because he knows I do an atheist podcast. I'm trying to remember how, I'm being quiet because I'm trying to remember how the conversation started. I can't remember how it started, but it did continue with, well, Dustin, what did you think happens when we die? Nothing. End of the road. Really? That's what you think? That's all? The end of the road? How can you think that? I mean, you're here right now. And I said, yeah. Do you remember anything before you were born? Anything at all? No. Same thing. So that's it. That's what you think is going to happen. No, that's what the evidence points to. That's really all we have to go on. We have some people that have near-death experiences who claim to see God, who claim to see Jesus, who claim to see Allah, who claim to see, I don't remember what Muslims call it, but they told me in American it means like high priest. They've seen their high priest in their near-death experiences. I saw grandma. I saw my dog. And everyone's up there in heaven waiting for me. I've heard that a lot. Why do they see those things? When they're in the near-death experience, why do they see those things? Or if they are pronounced dead temporarily and then they come back, doctors bring them back, by the way. Doctors. Let me ask you something. What happens when there's not much blood going to the brain, right? Your heart stops, which makes you legally dead. Not enough oxygen going to the brain, right? It's called hallucinations. It's called dreaming, for lack of a better term. You know, it's like you're asleep, except a lot more so. When you're dreaming and someone wakes you up, what happens? You're just like, whoa, I just had the freakiest dream. Well, if you're dying and on the table, chances are you're scared. You know something's happening, and then you have lack of oxygen to the brain, and then you're just like, oh my God, I'm hallucinating. Except for you don't know that. You just see grandma and Jesus and all that stuff. Your brain is trying to make you think, hey, calm down. I kind of went on two separate banters there. I just branched one off of the other. My coworker, he goes, so that's what you think happens when you die. Yeah. And he goes, well, where does all matter come from? Where do you come from? Well, we've already figured out the elements that creates life. Put those few elements together and it creates life, and those elements are out there. And if it survives in a life-sustaining environment, it'll grow, it'll evolve, it'll have babies. And he goes, so where does all matter come from? And I'm like, I'm assuming you're talking about God, and that's what you're basically going to be telling me. You think God made all this. And he goes, well, then who made it? And I'm like, let me guess, you're on the whole something can't come from nothing. He goes, I mean, everything's got to come from somewhere. Something had to have made it. Okay. Who made God? Or what made God? And usually you get the answer of, well, God's always been here. Which contradicts what they were trying to tell you in the first place, right? God's always been here. But you just said something can't come from nothing. Is God a something or a nothing? It's a something. Well, then where'd he come from? And we go back and forth and nothing ever gets resolved. But he didn't give me that answer. No. His answer was, I mean, we're only human, Dustin. We can't know for sure what made God. If something made God, then he is not God. I didn't say that to him because he's a very nice guy, and I feel like one of us was going to get pissed off if I kept going the way I was. What is that? What is that? What is that? Oh, I can pause if there's a notification? What is this? Replay activity. I'm going to test to see if everything works. My alerts aren't working. I know why my alerts aren't working. I didn't sign into the right website. Hold on. Signing in now. Okay, I'm all signed in. Everything good? Let me try this again. Really? You know what? Not much seems to be happening this stream, so I'm going to take this time to test it. Test. Twitch, follow. How come that worked, but I wasn't able to replay a previous follow like I've always been used to? Okay, so that works then. All right, what about my where's YouTube? What about my YouTube subscribers? Let's test that. Why do I have two of them? Why do I have two? Should only be one. I mean, it's kind of cool that there's two. But there should only be one. What the heck's going on here? Oh, I get it. I get it. What if I hide this one? Yeah, let's just remove this. I'm going to test something. I'm testing something. This is for future reference. Do you wish to remove it? Sure. Let's test again. Ha! I figured it out. All right, so everything works then. Okay, that's good. And apparently the sound works too. That's a plus. All right, let's end the stream with my closing cue cards because I can't think of the right word for it. So, is faith just a shortcut for not thinking? A lot of the time? Yeah, I'd like to think so. I mean, it doesn't have to be, right? I feel like the real virtue is just being willing to ask why. And never settling for the easy answers. I like to bring up Zeus and Poseidon all the time. You know, we didn't understand lightning. We didn't understand we didn't understand massive waves. I know what I'm getting at. Hold on. Sometimes I have to do this. Sometimes I have to put my thoughts together too. I like to tell people I'm a smart person, but I have a slow processor, so just give me a minute. Yeah, we didn't understand lightning. We didn't understand waves, like tsunamis. You know, why is the ocean angry? Why is the sea angry? Well, people started believing in Zeus and Poseidon. It must be gods because lightning, it can't come from nowhere. What is that? Zeus must be pissed. The waves, Poseidon is mad. We didn't give him enough offerings. And then science happened, right? We figured out what lightning actually was, where it actually comes from. And we found out it actually comes from a pretty common place, you know, when static? Yeah, let's just call it static. But electricity, you know, from the rain, which is, you get what I'm saying. We learned that it's not Zeus. We learned that it's not Poseidon. In fact, it was science. So what happened? Most people don't believe in Zeus or Poseidon anymore. Yeah, once in a while you'll meet someone who's like, yeah, I believe it. I believe in Zeus or Poseidon. Hell, I was one of those people too. That's another story, and that would get me off on a long tangent. Get me off on a long tangent. Okay, anyway. That would make me go off on a long tangent. So no, there's no longer Zeus or Poseidon as a main religion anymore. And instead we have God, right? Trying to use him to explain the things that we can't explain. Yet science is always advancing, and we've advanced a lot. We keep finding more and more things to be like, okay, so God didn't do this. We figured out why. Never settle for the easy answers. God didn't do it. Spirits didn't do it. The demons didn't do it. There's always a logical answer somewhere. So I didn't mean to hit my microphone. I'm going to try this as an outro. Let me know what you think. Okay. So thank you for listening to Why Do You Think? My name is Dustin YDU. And if this episode made you think, or made you mad, I feel like that means we're doing something right. What do you think? I think that's not a bad outro. I kind of like it. So, don't forget to hit that follow button, or if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and leave a review. Put something in the comments. Tell me what you think. Like I said, today was kind of a fail episode, right? I mean, I got it out, but I was still reeling from trying to figure out how to multi-stream, seeing if everything's working. It was a nightmare. And I can see my connection looks like it's starting to not do so well. I don't know what's going on with that. Good thing I'm ending the episode. Make sure you tell your favorite theist I said hi. Say, hey, Dustin YDU from Why Do You Think says hi. Who's that? He's an atheist activist doing an atheist podcast. And he'd love to talk to you. Thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And until next time, keep thinking.